Wow. Thought I got that focus right before I started. What's up, everybody? While I fix it, I'll start saying some hellos. No autofocus tonight. I already was trying to mess with this camera, rebuilding the stream after being gone for so long. But yeah, good to be back. But yeah, what's up, Pudgy? What's up, Blackball? Yeah, I'm surprised people are showing up. I thought I'd been gone too long. People wouldn't remember. um, Dimitri, Dimitri, I'm looking forward to editing my New York City footage. I had a good time, really good time cruising around out there. Did that get it? No, I went the wrong direction. Let's see. That looks like it might be good enough. I don't know. Yeah, good enough for right now. Let's see. Need to be there to be in focus. Instead of focusing the camera, I'll move my face into focus. Jay Dandy, how's it going? Large is up in here. Roadies might not wave, but they sure do swear a lot. Not as much as military dudes if we're going to go by Rusty. So, hey, what's up, Tony? You know what's funny is even though I have these lights really bright and well, at least looking at my screen, I look pretty washed out because I think I have it a little overexposed. Man, I got quite a tan at Heck of the North standing out side on Saturday at the cyclocross race all day. So if you're seeing me in person, I would look like a piece of beef jerky. What's up, Raymond? Dylan? Yeah, party size gone till November. Yeah. Dimitri waiting on the Terry meetup to happen. Yeah, my whole philosophy, and that's what I told my crew. I was like, I know he has an idea of when I'm going to be in town. If he hits me up, cool, but I'm not going to bother him. I don't. He's in his hometown. He does his own thing, and I just didn't want to put any pressure on anyone to feel the obligation to meet up. So, yeah, it just didn't happen, and no big deal. We kind of, rode around the streets. It would have been cool to meet up, but it's, I like I said, I just didn't want to. I didn't reach out, so that. What's up, JLS 320? So, but it's interesting because Dimitri, I saw you in the chatting in Terry's stream today. We rode a lot of the roads that he rides between. Like we must have been in the same area where we stayed, and a lot of the places we were heading. Because a lot of the roads we were riding from our Airbnb, and as we like moved around Brooklyn, I recognized so many of the places that Terry rides. So, and then we actually went over to Washington Park and hung out and just spent some time people watching like he does in his streams as well too. So it was pretty cool. But what's up, Arthur? Muskrat, how's it going? Yeah, so what has it been? A couple weeks? I don't know if I've streamed since before Higher Ground Hundo, uh, but yeah, probably not. I think it's been at least a couple weeks. It's just been so. My goal was to be able to do it before we went on our trip, but I needed to use that time to get all my work done and get all my stuff together. I was like packing up still, the night before we were leaving, and that was a long trip. I mean, we left on a Thursday and got back on a Friday. We left on like a Thursday at like 10 a.m. and we got back on that Friday afternoon. I had to work that Friday night, spent all Saturday, well, most of Saturday at Heck of the North, and then we went out for dinner and stuff like that with Rusty after. And then, so Sunday was when I started to edit some footage and get caught up on work emails. So I'm still, kind of rushing a little bit, but comfortable enough to hang out for a few hours tonight, obviously. So, what's up, Sam Diaz? What's up, Eddie Zach? Edie Zach? What's up, Patrick? What's up, Jay Dandy? Dimitri, I didn't actually take many photos in New York. It's funny you asked that because I was just thinking of this when I was just sitting upstairs chilling for like 15 minutes. I had another photo gig tonight. Got back, was chilling out before I got this all reset up because I had torn it down because I needed to use the cameras and everything for other stuff while I was gone. My assistant was using it, partner, assistant, whatever. Kind of hired someone to help out a little bit, but so on the whole trip, I didn't take that many photos. I just edited them and put them up on Flickr, and I could show some of them, and I could drop a link. But I think there's a command, just Flickr would drop a link to the account. And I just uploaded photos from the trip today. But I can't bear to not bring my nice camera when I go on a trip. But when I'm riding my bike now, and I think it's one of the things that has made me so into making YouTube videos is that I could just film with my GoPro from the bike so much easier. And so I think it's really one of the big reasons that, because I used to post like, photo blogs all the time. And I think like YouTube has just kind of taken over that, like my need to create something visually, because I've just, as I've gotten more and more into cycling, and then since I've been riding more with other people, I don't have to hold people up if I'm using my GoPro. Whereas before, like when I used to travel, I was always stopping to take photos, timing everything I did to hit magic hours in the morning and the evening, because I didn't want to shoot midday. So I actually didn't take a lot of photos. We barely walked around. I don't think one, I'm still having a little trouble walking around because of my sciatica. I'm more comfortable on the bike. Even when we went to get coffee one morning, it was just me, Large, and Aaron. But they walked, and I soft pedaled on my bike because I'm just more comfortable right now. But that's actually a morning I did take photos of the coffee shop. But yeah, so I didn't like. I've been to New York a few times, so I've like done tons of photo walks. I've shot multiple rolls of film in New York. I've shot a lot of digital photos that I'm really proud of from New York. But yeah, this time it was almost entirely on the bike. Like uh, when we got there, we spent a lot of time riding in the evening. We got there in the evening, and then the next day I must have rode, I think we rode 37 miles just constantly riding around the city. So we did stop and chill a little bit. We stopped and got, drinks, or we stopped in Central Park and like just hung out for a little bit. But yeah, almost all video the whole trip. I even at Nutmeg, I only think I shot like 15 photos maybe that I actually edited and uploaded that I liked. So yeah, just that's been kind of a change in general though, whether I'm traveling or hanging out. I also shoot photos for work all day, so I think doing video as a creative thing might also be part of it. But I know Large said that's one thing he would like to do if we go back to New York City is walk around a little more, which is true. You don't really get when you're riding your bike around New York, you don't really get to take in a lot of you're seeing a lot faster, but you have to so constantly be aware. And even if it's just to keep moving to stay out of New Yorkers' way, you know what I mean? Not always just worrying about traffic, but you know, when you watch the way like Terry rides around Brooklyn and goes through the intersections, like when we didn't do that, bikes would come up behind us and try and get around us. So it's like part of that flow is just because that's the way everyone moves. So I think that's kind of what my YouTube video about New York will be about, like trying to ride like a New Yorker, because it's almost important to do, because if you don't, you're just in New Yorkers' way. So anywho, what's up, Max? Oh, Montreal, Canada. That's a place that I really want to go. Me and Aaron had a trip booked to, or didn't book it. We were starting to plan a trip to Montreal when the pandemic hit. We were going to go and watch the pro road race, the Grand Prix Montreal, and uh, there's two. There's one on each. There's 2 days in a row, and the Quebec race. But yeah, we didn't end up going because of the pandemic, and we still kind of want to get back up there. So. What's up, Sam? Consensus on the ground tax? I love them. I'm going to make a whole, well, I upgraded so much on the rally. It won't be a whole video about the brakes, but partially about them. So the riding I've done on the ground tax has really taxed them, because higher ground was insane amount of climbing, the most I've ever done in a ride. And same with Nutmeg. It was a lot of single track and then just country bombs, like country road hill bombs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the ground tax have been awesome. Like I said, I can't personally compare them to other really good mechanical disc brakes like clampers, because I haven't ridden personally a bike that has clampers, but I think they're comparable. They're also cheaper and lighter. So, but yeah, I love them. Absolutely love them. Pudgy, I did get the email from John. I'm already connected with the person he wanted to connect me with. So I don't know if it'll work out, but John's into it. I'm not sure the person would be into what I had to say about a public speaking thing about bicycles and bike packing. John from Psychotherapy reached out to see if I'd be interested in giving a talk at Wright State University. So, what's up, Chris? What's up, Whiskey 6? Thanks. Yeah, chat is hopping. Like I said, I'm impressed. So. Nathan, yeah. Party side said New Yorkers can chill and wait. I, New Yorkers don't chill and wait. They definitely like I've always said. I always find like the reputation of New Yorkers not being nice to be totally fake or totally not fake, totally false. But to me, it's long as you're not in their way. I've said the same thing about Paris, the most visited city in the world. Like I never had any problem with anyone in Paris. It was like long as you stay out of people's way who are trying to get to work, and that's just to me a big deal. But I like to stay out of people's way, So plus I like to ride like that. I mean, to be honest, I have a blast like keeping moving. And in New York they're looking for you on your bike. It's I've only ridden since I've been back I think twice, both on my uprightish single speed, riding to photo gigs, and I've already had more altercations back here in Akron, and I think this is over only like 20 miles, and some of that was bike path than I did in New York City. Like, you know, riding around New York City like crazy. Like, it's totally different. I felt way safer in Midtown Manhattan on my bike than I do in Akron or Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. So, Sleepy Holler, what's up? You said Montreal is a great city to bike. Yeah, that's what we were hoping to find out. Hopefully, we will. Um, I don't know. That pro race is back. That was just a way to time it up to so have something kind of fun to do. But yeah, we wanted to go to Montreal and Quebec City, uh, both places I want to see. And also, Aaron speaks pretty decent French, and I just do lingo French, and I understand some vocabulary, and I could say the basics. But I also like the idea of trying to do that again. But what's up, William LeBron? Yeah, Pudgy, chill and wait, and New Yorkers have nothing in common. Cass Rides Bike says, New Yorkers are kind but not nice. Midwesterners are nice but not kind. Our buddy Mike, who Maris, the metal sculpturist, has been on the stream, and who went on the trip with us, was joking about since he moved back to Akron about us saying sorry too much. The Midwest, sorry, sorry, sorry. Oh, excuse me, sorry. So I I like the idea of like helpful, nice or kind. Like I don't need everyone to be like super nice all the time, but like just the it's I've never had a problem getting help when I've needed help in New York or anything like that. But what's up, Richard? Richard said Chicago has so many great trails, nice mix with burbs too. So I've ridden my bike in Chicago, and this is back before I got real back into cycling. Went out there with a friend, the friend I was actually talking about helping me out here at the studio a little bit. And we only did city riding out there, but that was the first time I had ever done like real city riding. And I can imagine it's only better now, but like this was, God, what year would that have been? I would have to look it up by like my photos that I took because I was taking a lot of photos. Um, I mean, it's over 10 years ago, and like the way drivers and the infrastructure was even in downtown Chicago back then, and the neighborhoods near downtown, like we stayed by Boys Town and all that, uh, was amazing to me. I couldn't believe we would ride through traffic and the way the bike lanes just crossed through the intersections and all that stuff. It was the first time in my life I had ever seen anything like that, and it was years before I saw it again. And stuff that Cleveland is just starting to implement now. So yeah, it was amazing. And this was the first time I'd really ridden a bike in New York City, by the way. Like, me and Aaron rented some hybrids when we went in 2019, and I did come back through like Midtown, and Aaron got on a train once we got up to the Bronx. We just rode up the Hudson River Trail all the way, and I worked my way back through the Bronx, and then kind of crossed over in Midtown and back to the Lower East Side on that hybrid, and then we rode city bikes around, but it wasn't a ton of riding, and this was the first time I had my own bike there, which makes just such a huge difference when you're in a. It just takes away one factor. Large was talking about how many things you have to worry about riding in New York. So having my bike not have to be a thought was kind of a really nice thing about it. But yeah, Dimitri, that's a good point too. You said you like New York because most people are too busy to care about what you have going on. I think I dropped it. No, it's just a friends. But if anyone follows Casey Neistat, one of the I think he's one of the more popular. He's got like 10 million subscribers, but he just moved back to New York, and it looked like I don't know if it was the City Bike Boys that I've seen Terry hang out with, but he was hanging out with dudes who do like tricks on the city bikes, and he was saying the exact same thing. Like they're setting up a ramp in the middle of the street and doing like tricks, and like the construction workers start to help them. The cops beep their horn at them just to like step out of their way so the cops could go by, but not to bother them with what they're doing, which in any other city would, if not get you arrested, definitely get you told to like move everything out of the way. Yeah. So it is amazing. And just even watching Terry stream today when he's doing this thing where he's moving city bikes back to docks they need to go to, and you get like kind of a point system that gives you credits, all this kind of stuff. He's doing this all, streaming it all in the month of November. But even when you watch him and he's talking to a chat on his phone and the GoPro mounted on him, nobody almost ever even turns ahead that there's some guy riding a bike talking to themselves. So I do like that about New York as well. But yeah, Arthur, yeah, driving through the city, I think is uh, like driving through New York is terrifying. I've done that. Usually only to move my car because there's going to be like a trash day pickup. But I've also messed that up, and I did that one day when I forgot my phone and went over one of the bridges into Brooklyn and couldn't find my way back for like an hour. But driving around New York is horrible. Especially, I don't know why anyone does it, except people who have to do it for work. Like why people own a car in the city seems pretty ridiculous to me. I mean, I guess a little bit in Brooklyn where the subways are a little more spread out. Like why anyone wants to drive a car in Manhattan is beyond me. I was thinking that's another reason the bike and pedestrian culture is so much better though, because cars are the lowest in the pecking order in New York City. Like if you decide to drive, you're choosing to do the worst way possible to get around. So you should be treated like you're doing the thing that's the worst. It is the worst. Um, like you're always stuck in traffic. Uh, there's like what we watch delivery drivers just stop in the middle of the road if it's a busy road and they need to do something, and all the cars are held up. It's like where the bikes could all filter through, the cars can. The subways are either underground or overground. So, yeah, driving a car in New York is horrible, and um, cars should be treated as the least, like, the worst way to get around, and it feels like they are, to me at least. So. Oh, Pudgy, you said you'd rather drive through New York City than Boston. And I agree with that because there is order to what happens in New York. It's not necessarily the laws you picture. Like, New York has its own unspoken way of getting around and the way things happen. And I absolutely agree with that. Boston is absolute chaos, especially for someone from the Midwest, where we tend to observe, like, some kind of order. And even New York observes some kind of order, whereas Boston, everyone just does whatever they want all the time and yells at everyone else for doing it, whether they just did it or not. Like, I, yeah, I haven't driven a car in Boston, but I've ridden my friends' cars and took Ubers everywhere, and it's the absolute worst. Like, I can't even imagine a worse place to be in a car than Boston. So, Sam said driving in general kind of sucks. I agree. I live in a place where it would be really hard not to own a car with what I do, but I try to get in it as little as I possibly can. Um, there's just times where I need to get a lot of gear to gigs, and our spaces are so wide. Um, yeah, if I could jump on a train with my stuff with some kind of roller bag, I would totally do it. That's one thing we were saying when we were in New York, not even just the city, but even when we were up on the Hudson. Like the one night we're having a beer at the brewery and it starts to rain, and we realize, hey, we don't have to ride 15 miles back to where we're camping in the rain because we can just go get on a train with our bikes, you know, so much better. So if we had the option, if we had that option of good public transportation, I would give up my car in a minute, and I would rent one if I needed to do a road trip or wanted to do a road trip, you know. But yeah, I would love not to drive anywhere. So party size, you said you have to drive through Brooklyn since the train doesn't run late enough, but it's easy. You just have to go and no one will hit you. So Yeah, so much freedom not having a car in New York City. So I've flown to New York once. That's when me and Aaron went last time, and then this time we rode into the city with our bikes from Croton Point State Park. So yeah, it was awesome not having to worry about it at all, but then still having your own mode of transportation. Like I said, having my and we were only there for a little while, but I would love to have it even longer. But having just your bike to get around is so great, and it'd be even greater if you like had like that beater bike that you didn't have to worry about chaining up, your single speed, whatever, and then you had your nicer bike. If you live there, that's definitely something you would do. You know, Who's, why is Brad and everyone blowing me up on? Oh, Albert just got a new bike apparently. I don't have autofocus, so I'd show it to you guys. Oh, I think it's a Speedwagon. Nice. Anywho, hey, what's up, Lanky? Got to hang out with Lanky and a bunch of people at Heck of the North over the weekend, which was really fun. Said I wish it was a week later because just running, 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 but still had a good time. And I wasn't racing or riding or anything, just absolutely hanging out. Hey, what's up, Richard? Richard asked my video about getting hit. I was fine after. No real injuries from getting hit, like just some minor scratches from like our little bit of a bruise from where the mirror got me, but yeah. You definitely have that thing where for a few days or maybe a couple weeks you're a little more mentally aware of getting past, but it didn't stop me from riding the next day. My bike was worse for the wear, and that's what prompted the major upgrades on my rally. I think the bottom bracket got a little messed up. The crank definitely got bent. One of the arms was totally bent, had to be replaced, but I ran it for a number of months after that, and I finally just completely replaced the crankset and rings and the bottom bracket, along with the brakes, new bars, and a bunch of stuff. So I was really lucky. I was really lucky in that accident. My shoe was, like I said in that video, was I keep waving off. There's fruit flies. I was hoping they would die off when I was gone, but they didn't. So that's what I'm shooing away from me is the fruit flies. But yeah, like my shoe got like uh, the tire rubber stain on it from it hitting my foot. I could have got twisted up in that car so easily. So Muskrat said driving in Boston could pop your aorta. Yeah, like I said, when I was riding with my friend, who not his wife, she would like flick off and yell at everybody for what they were doing, but then she would do the same thing like 2 minutes later. I'm like, you're not even from here, but I think she's been there for over a decade, so you develop the habits of the place you live. I'm sure you have to, right? So I know. So Dimitri, you were saying about like the subway 24/7. Even Aaron. So a couple of the times we were riding out to go to dinner or to meet somewhere, Aaron would take the subway. But since we were in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, it's just not as efficient in Brooklyn to get around on the subway. Like unless you happen to live near one of the lines or the lines are going where you're going. So there were nights where we were riding from Brooklyn into Manhattan, or nights, but a night where we were riding from Brooklyn into Manhattan, and we could beat Erin, even though she was taking the subway. But if you were just going up and down Manhattan or crossing Manhattan, the subway would be probably the fastest way to get around. So they do start to close some of the lines and stuff in the evening. I remember from times I went to New York, and it would be late night, and you'd have to kind of reroute yourself, but still pretty efficient on Manhattan. But Pudgy said, in truth, you do get used to Boston driving. Huh. I believe you get used to it, but everyone still cusses and yells at everyone. Yeah. Like New York people honk the horn like if you're not paying attention, but it's not just for like every single thing. It's because you were looking. Someone is in line at the traffic light is looking at their phone and they get honked at. So yeah, Albert's just had a couple new bike days because he got that Carver mountain bike and now he's got his Speedwagon, which I think is more of a gravel bike. Pudgy said that's just the way you talk. Yeah. Mass holes. Oh. Too many hoagies and grinders. Why am I drawing a blank? What is the sandwich everyone really? No. Oh no, that was when I was in Philly. I was thinking of cheesesteak and not a hoagie or a grinder. But I think people say hoagies everywhere, don't they? That's kind of caught on. Grinders is a little more of a regionalism. I guess around here it'd always be more sub sandwiches than hoagie, but maybe I just know hoagie because we did go out east for vacation when I was kids all the time. But see if anyone dropped any drink picks tonight. Oh yeah, a couple. Musgrave with the Spade and Oktoberfest. I actually bought some Oktoberfest before I left and put it in the fridge because I knew it'd kind of be gone by the time I got back and everything would be Christmas beer already, even though it's November and late October. And I wanted some like for Halloween and stuff like that. So and Jay Dandy's got a brew kettle lager in his road apple Roubaix mug. Chris said he just pictured Bill Bird yelling out at every car window. Yeah, for sure. Richard, you asked about the Wahoo. Does it have point of interest? Would you still recommend it for a new bike packer? Huh. I don't think it has a point of interest thing. Um, I would still recommend it because I love it. And it works really well for getting around. But I have no comparisons to make because it's the only bike computer I've ever had. Um, I would still recommend it because for me it's become like indispensable. I use it on every single ride, and the Wahoo app itself I even use to like take me to. I use that to get to dinner when me and Party Size and the crew went out to eat on our first night in Old Saybrook, and it took us on a great route like through the woods. Well, great, I guess depending on your opinion. I thought it was kind of cool, but so Pudgy. I saw your pic. I saw your pic with your electronic shifters in there. I still jumped into Discord to check everything out. We'll get into some bike pics if not tonight. Definitely Thursday. Austin, yeah, I'm about halfway through editing my Nutmeg video, so it should be up on Thursday. That's my plan to have it up on Thursday morning. So I think I'm gonna voice over it like I did the Albany video. That's what I'm thinking. I was hoping I could make it a quick voiceover, then cut to just music and cool bike footage, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, a lot of cool footage from it because, yeah, cool shots. It was a great ride. So Bill Burr's SNL skit about Sam Adams pumpkin beer. I'll have to look that one up. I don't watch TikTok anymore because it just really draws me in too much. But in 2020, when that was a nice thing, a nice time killer when not a lot was going on, I watched a lot of Bill Burr on TikTok actually. So, oh yeah, this beer too is from. My autofocus isn't working. I can't show it to you, but the Good, the Bad, and the Argyle from Peekskill Brewing is the brewery we stopped at when we ended up taking the train back to our campground that night. Um, but I had to ask if anyone knows the Bouncing Souls. That's the name of their second album, and I saw the brewer or a brewer pop out of the back, and I was like, "Hey, I got to ask you a question because I I know the Bouncing Souls became much more popular way later than this, but this album, because that album was on a really minor label, but yeah, he said it's just because they like the Bouncing Souls. There's no affiliation, but the Bouncing Souls are from New Jersey, so I was thinking, yeah, what if there's some bigger connection? But it's a New England IPA, or this one's just an Indian Pale Ale actually. Oh, this was their anniversary one. That's right. Cashmere hops, Idaho 7. Uh, yeah, it's juicy, but it's not quite a West Coast. It's somewhere in the middle. It feels like. Anyways, oh no, Pudgy, we weren't across from cool enough buildings for me to tell any of the to me to weird any of the older bartenders out with phrases that teenagers use. Pudgy needs to put a Renee Air sticker on his bike if you want attention. So I was reading that post and I saw someone had dropped it in the Discord a couple days ago. So that Renee Air's open collaboration, is it not even a different bike though? Is it just a different colorway? From when I was reading the description, it didn't. It just sounds like like it doesn't have anything to do with Jan Hein's design or anything. It's just. Am I wrong about that? Someone tell me if I am. But from the Instagram post, it just sounded like it's an open bike in a Renaer's color with a Renaer's name on it. But I thought that was a little weird because like when they built their steel bikes, they're super interesting. They don't even give you the geometry charts because they're so what were they, like $15,000 steel bikes? But so for them just to slap their name on a carbon open, I thought was kind of a strange move. But someone tell me if I'm wrong on that one. Party size knows the Bouncing Souls reference. Oh, well, you're also, yeah, you should from New Jersey, right? Hey, what's up, Sean? Oh, you said thanks for the heck of the North 4 recap video. Yeah, no problem. I was thinking of like getting like the footage from out east going, but then I'm like, I should just wait, make the heck of the North video, and then start to get into the videos from when I was out east. I think I'll have like 4 from out there because, yeah, the Albany one, Nutmeg one, riding the OCA trail into New York was so interesting. I think that deserves to be its own video, and then probably one from riding around New York City. So I think there'll be 4 videos about that, and then kind of a 5th because there'll be one about like what I've done to my bike recently, and some of that'll tie in. But Muskrat, yeah, I remember the clam juice beers, but there's also still there's a style of beer that's an oyster stout that has um, like a New England, what do they call New England something? Flying Dog makes one of those as well. But so Jay Dandy, you're saying the Renair Spike is a collaboration? Yeah, I need to read more about it, but I know in the comments uh, of the Instagram post, Renair said, which probably is Jan, that it's well is Jan, that it's a race bike that could fit wider tires, and that's the whole point. But I just thought this was they didn't even change the model name, right? It's a model that already exists by Open. So I don't know. Need to look into it more. That's my like I said, I haven't been paying as much attention to things because I've been just so on the go, obviously. So yeah. Oh, that's right, Pudgy. The other thing I switched on the bike was my levers because my um, one of my levers seemed to break. My Shimano 105 11-speed levers. It hadn't been right for a long time, but it wasn't enough to like cause me real problems. I just kind of had to, you know how like when you have that old car stereo that you just know you need to hit in the right spot to make it work. That's how my 105 levers were. If it was doing a thing, I needed to like push slightly here and then shift, and it just became completely intuitive. Well, when Yonda was helping me, well, Yonda was rebuilding my bike, not helping me. He was doing the work, and I was hanging out, taking photos. When we cleaned out the lever and put everything back together, it was not working very well. He got it to work, but wasn't confident that it would hold up, and especially with higher ground coming up. So Pudgy actually overnighted me some 11-speed Ultegra levers, and so I put those on. And yeah, they worked perfectly. Almost just haven't even noticed them. They're just, which is a compliment, you know. So so it worked like SRAM shifters? No, it worked the opposite, where I have to think about everything, and then like I click one way and something happens, and I click too hard and it doesn't happen. Then I get to the end of the cassette and you still click and nothing happens. But why does it let you click since you're at the end of the cassette? Renair's Firefly Titanium would be a good one. Yeah. Okay, so Jay Dandy, you're saying it's not a new model. Component choices and colorway is Jan. What's the upcharge on that though? Has anyone seen like so what does that cost to get that complete Renair's over what the Open would cost? Is there a premium to get that sticker put on there? What's up, Tim's? There'd be other people way better at answering that question than I would. 29er AI horizontal dropout single speed. That is not my wheelhouse at all. I'd be the wrong person to answer that question, but maybe someone in the chat would know. Single speed 29ers, it's just nothing I've ever owned anything like that. So, no, I've never had a single. I have one single speed, and it's a completely like took a vintage road bike frame and made kind of an upright cruiser. So, yeah. Hey, what's up, Master of Disaster? Hickory, North Carolina. Yeah, glad to have you in here. And I think you're also the newest channel member, so I truly appreciate that. That's makes a difference over here. So thanks a lot. Renee Pasafi. What did I? We passed someone riding like a, Kmart bike that was a Huffy on the trip, and I've never. I grew up riding like my little dirt bike when I was a kid was a Huffy, but I have never looked up at what point like Huffies became junk because when I was in, and this is obviously going way back to what their beginnings must have been, but in Dayton, Ohio, when me and Aaron were at the Wright Brothers workshop, they had a chain ring that was a Huffy that was, whatever, early 1900s. So Huffy must have been a legit brand at some point. I don't know what point they became not one. I've said before, they put their name on nice bikes in the 80s, race bikes for the 7-Eleven team and all that, but they weren't made by Huffy. They were made by Sirota. So just a short Wikipedia rabbit hole away, but I always forget to look it up. So. Oh, Cheesy Rider, the cheap bikes made in Argentina. I haven't, and that project that was like a really good idea that I would like to do is probably not going to happen, and it's one of the things I have on my list for night, and it's because of this. So, that is that gunner that's been on the channel a number of times, but stripped down to just the headset, bottom bracket, and stem. So, and I've got a couple other bits. So instead of taking on a different project with components like that, which I still would have thought made like kind of cool content and would have made for fun videos and a cool experiment, I'm in no rush on the gunner, but that would be where any resources like that will end up going. So, and for this bike, what I'm thinking is something similar to the way Otis had it set up. I think a bike packing bike, but I do think I want to do something like sweep bars and make it real upright, make it totally distinguished from my Marin and my Raleigh. So it's something totally unique. But it's cool because it does have, you know, all the mounts, you know, um, much more modern than anything I have because it's through axle and all that kind of stuff. But I know, who did you guys mention that has a video on one of those? Was that what's his name? Someone did buy one of those and make a video about it. That's popular on YouTube, and I'm drawing a blank. Maybe someone else knows. Can remember. I forgot the link's in the Discord, but it's probably way back now. So, hey, what's up, Jason? How's it going? Renee Cadillac collab on the new Renaers. Pudgy, you said you sort of want to build a Walmart bike with super nice parts. I was trying. I always watch. If you guys ever watch Local Joe's channel on YouTube, he hasn't. I wouldn't say really nice parts, but he builds up like he'll get like pull bikes out of the dumpster and then like rebuild them completely. So the frames will be really cheap, but not saying really nice parts, but builds them into like really rideable like bikes. I guess that's kind of a lot like my other French bike. Why am I drawing such a blank on that guy's name? Doesn't matter. Cheap 80s French bike, but that I didn't build it up with especially nice parts, but made it a completely rideable bike that I ride. So, Austin, you have Renaers on your Huffy trash bike. I do have bikes like that where it's like, I'm like, well, the Roger Riviere. I have a Cinelli stem and bars that are 3T stem and Cinelli bars that are probably worth more than the rest of the bike put together. So, and the tires and cables, same. Like, you know, when you buy a cheap bike and then by the time you put tires and cables and all that stuff on it, you have more money into it than the bike's worth, right? Jason, you had a Huffy called Red Rocket. That's funny. My Huffy was red. That was like a little BMX dirt bike with a foot brake. So, oh, Pudge, you got some bars I might like? Yeah, hit me up for sure. Hey, what's up, Julian? My Marin is a 1996 Team Marin, and I built it into kind of a drop bar touring bike. So, Arthur said Reed. I'm not familiar with Reed. Reed Gravel. Huh. Yeah, Cheesy Rider, if you're all about cheap, then I would look into those Argentinian bikes because, I mean, they are handmade. I mean, they'd be better than, you would have to think they would be, well, Spindat. There you go, Dylan. Dylan, Spindat. So look up Spindat, and he has a video about him. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Party size, I do get it now. Jason said there's a guy on YouTube that buys Walmart bikes all the time. There's a really big YouTube movement, or it was over the summer at least, of like buying cheap components from, like, you know, Francis Cade was doing it with Alibaba, but putting cheap components on a nice bike. And then I've seen people like, you know, mountain biking on cheap Walmart bikes. It seems to be kind of like a YouTube trend to see if you can destroy old bikes or just make them decent enough. But so there you go, Pudgy. He said Sam Pilgrim buys Walmart bikes to break them. Yeah. Factor is high-end Walmart bikes, right? Yeah, kind of. So, Pudgy just said Rafa is Walmart bike clothes. I looked this up again because, well, one, when the Walton heirs bought Rafa, there's no affiliation with Walmart other than their money originally comes from their, parents or grandparents or whatever, being the founders of Walmart. Someone told me that Walmart straight up ended up buying out their share. There is nothing about that anywhere on the internet, and I know you're most likely making a joke, but Rafa is not owned by Walmart, like in any way. And they moved their headquarters to Bentonville recently, their U.S. headquarters, Rafa did. And I think that's what caused a lot of the confusion, but that's where those guys live, and that's where like that whole bike culture is. So I, I, I know you're probably joking, but I think facts also matter. Whatever you think of Rafa, it doesn't matter. The fact is that Walmart does not own them. Like, it's just a fact, So you could hate the company, you could hate their culture. The reason I dig some of their stuff is because they sponsor my favorite pro team, and I like to buy their caps, and I'll scrummage around their sales on the internet, and if I could find some of their stuff on sale for a decent price, I've bought it. But yeah. Oh, Julian, you said your roommate has the same Marin bike and he loves it. Awesome. Yeah, I got just really lucky with an eBay deal because the person didn't put a size or a model or a year, and I just gambled on buying the frame, and it turned out to be Team Marin that fit me. So, you're not making me grumpy about Rafa because I don't care if people don't support. Um, I don't care if like people like have issue with Rafa. I understand, or any totally roadie company that like charges a lot of money for their stuff and only makes stuff for like really skinny people and offers incentives to lose weight. I understand all that. I'm not defending any of that stuff. It's just the fact that Walmart does not own Rafa. Like the heirs to the Waltons own Rafa in a totally separate it's only related through that, you know, family name, but it's not the same company. It's just, again, doesn't matter. You could, doesn't, I don't care what, like, if you think Rafa sucks, it still is not owned by Walmart, I'm not trying to defend them and what they do. So, oh, Rob Davidson, what's up? You said you're stuck in barn finds and Facebook Marketplace. Favorite $55 Scott Santa Cruz. Nice. Hey, what's up, Terry? How's it going? Yeah, Waltons own it. I'm just, yeah. Like, again, people who owned Walmart own Rafa, but not the people who own Walmart now. So, not the individuals, but. So, Rafa owns Walmart? Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend who just moved to the Bentonville area. Uh, what had that been, last fall? And he absolutely, I mean, he loves it down there. I mean, like he rides mountain bike trails to work, from his house to the bike shop he works at. So I don't, yeah, I think I mean, it's kind of funny that the Walton money has turned this area into like the main street and all this kind of stuff that Walmarts have destroyed across the rest of the country. I've talked about this before, but yeah, again, the money does come from Walmart originally, but it's not technically the people who own Walmart now. So, Master, I'll probably go in order of the video. So Nutmeg will come out next, and then the OCA video into New York, and then a New York video. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I have barely looked through the New York footage, but I'm excited to see what I caught bombing around there because it was a blast. So, Huffy has got to be owned by some mega corporation. I'm sure it's the same company that owns Schwinn and everything else. It was so depressing one day. I went for it was a ride Tony was actually leading, and it was just like a from downtown Akron to the Summit Lake Farmers Market. This thing some nonprofits were hosting to try and get people out on bikes and seeing the city. And this one guy had a Schwinn that was basically, a Walmart bike now, but it had the Schwinn sticker on it. And he was showing me all the problems he was having with it. And I tried to give it a quick little tune up and stuff like that where he was having a problem. But the components, were just trash. And you couldn't, you wouldn't take it to a shop to get it fixed. It wouldn't be worth it. I didn't want to say that, but he's like, it's a Schwinn. It has to be good. Because, he's 50 some years old and he's always thought, Schwinns were good bikes at some point, and that's why someone bought their name, right, to trade on their reputation. But it's, just some, I'm sure, investment firm or giant corporation that's, making them in the cheapest factory in the Far East that's possible. So, yeah, it's a bummer, but. Did I pronounce Walmart wrong? I pronounce everything wrong, but I. Huffy is in Dayton. Well, Huffy is from Dayton, but they wouldn't still be in Dayton, right? Let's look them up. Let's Wikipedia Huffy. I got to assume they've been a name only since the 70s, right? Like even even my Raleigh has nothing to do with the British, company Raleigh. The name has just been bought. So modern era Huffy. Let's see. Oh man, this is way too many words for me to try and read while live streaming. Oh, Huffy itself was nearly a Fortune 500 company? Made it into the 90s, basically. Ah, of course, here it is, right here. High-volume retailers had claimed 3/4 of the U.S. market, gaining tremendous leverage over bicycle makers. Walmart, in particular, was pressuring Huffy. It ordered 900,000 bikes at one time, but insisted that Huffy lower its prices significantly. Huffy closed all its Ohio plants and moved everything to China because of Walmart, is basically what happened. So, oh, yeah, then they merged with Murray and everything else. All right. So it looks like it did stay fairly independent, but just did what the other conglomerates that bought up all the old brands, like, all the French brands and all the nice British brands did. Huffy just did it themselves. They just moved to making really cheap bikes on their own. So, oh, anyways, when we say Walmart bikes or Kmart bikes, we don't mean that Walmart technically owns the brands. We're just talking about cheap department store bikes. So that's kind of what we just read the case with Huffy is. They're not owned by Walmart, but when we say Kmart, department store bikes, that's just cheap bikes, like those garbage bikes you could buy that people buy for their kids on Christmas and last 1 year, then fall to bits, unfortunately. Ah, Tony just typed all that right there for us, so. Yeah, cheap unrideable bikes kill future riders for sure, Rob. That's one of the things I know people have talked about. Like, there's some bike giveaways even here in Akron where like people build up bikes and they give them away for Christmas, but you see them all like they're all out by the dumpster or the trash, within 6 months. So it's like, hey, what if you gave away less bikes but gave away quality bikes, or decent bikes? It's always an argument. So Yeah. They kill off future riders and they're dangerous and they're trash. They're just landfill. You know, those bikes are made and, you know, they just end up in the landfill within 2 years. You know, cheap aluminum bikes. So, yeah, the Wright Brothers bike shop and museum is worth going to. The cool thing is the bike shop's free, so you could just go walk into the where their original bike shop was. Uh, Tony, you said you wouldn't have typed that stuff if you knew I was going to Wikipedia it. So, Marin is actually still owned by Hills. Hills? I do not remember Hills. What is Hills? What's up, Joseph? Thanks. Oh, Clinton, Ohio. Nice. Ride through Clinton at least a few times a year, especially in the summer. I see all your guys' jokes. I just can't keep up. Yeah, Rowley has been bought and sold a bunch of times. The last time they had like a real decent shop was Raleigh TI, which sponsored pro teams, right? Was it TI? Raleigh TI? Uh, but they made like, you know, my bike's a great bike early in the gravel, you know, phase, but I think they're all, I think someone said, when someone told me they went all mail order now, they don't do anything with their social media accounts. Like if you look up Raleigh on Instagram, they haven't posted anything in, I think, a couple years. So I don't know. I never see them. Hills department stores? Huh. I don't know. Akron was all O'Neill's and Polsky's. I don't, and then those names changed a couple times, but I don't remember Hills. Yeah, I can't even picture a Hills logo, and I'm usually one of the oldest people here. So Hills is where the toys are was their catchphrase, huh? Did you guys happen to see the video today? I was wondering thoughts on this a little bit. Speaking of bikes that I would no longer personally buy, but Tim never saw one. We're clearly making. I'm just saying, in Akron and Cleveland, I don't remember them. Like Akron and Cleveland didn't. I don't remember Hills in Akron or Cleveland. So let's okay. Let's Google Hills department store before Pudgy gets upset, and I'll see. Let's see where they were located. Oh, I can picture that logo, but I can't picture one anywhere near me. So, oh, Youngstown. Well, I guess it's a lot closer than I thought. And most stores were located in Ohio. Huh. Wait, based in Canton, Massachusetts, founded in Youngstown, Ohio. 1999, it was acquired by Ames. Let's see. Okay, Columbus. That's why you guys know him. Huh. Early 90s, they kind of went away. Ames was big in New England. Yeah, that makes sense if they're Massachusetts. So Ames and Jersey too. Yeah, we had O'Neill's became for department stores, O'Neill's became Higbee's. Polsky's, I believe, just went out of business. You could definitely buy a Huffy at Ames. Hey, what's up, Gary Pearson? I missed your comment there. Remember Hills? Yeah. Oh, Joseph said Hills and Massillon? Huh. Muskrat said, are they owned by Hills Brothers Coffee? Woolworths were, yeah. I think Woolworths were nationwide, though, right? Weren't Woolworths ubiquitous? I mean, there's a line about Woolworths in, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And stay out of the Woolworths. You know what's... Tony said he got his first Huffy at Montgomery Ward. There was a Montgomery Ward, like, right down the street from where my studio is now that I don't remember the last time it was open, but at least its sign was still up. It's where the Giant Eagle is now, so... But I don't know if I was ever actually in an open Montgomery Ward, but I definitely remember seeing those guys around. So... Sleepy Hollow. Remember Bradley's? I don't remember Bradley's either. Because I was born in Parma Heights, so a Cleveland suburb, but we moved to the suburbs of Akron when I was like 3 or 4. So, but we always went back up to Cleveland because of family. Still do. So, Cleveland area. Service merchandise? Let's see what Bradley's logo. Bradley's was a department store? Talk about Kmart bikes and this is where it leads us. Nah, I've never seen that one. I don't remember this. Braintree, Massachusetts, so another New England. Primarily in the northeastern United States, so... 105 stores in the Northeast, so not tiny, but definitely not a giant. Not a Kmart or a Walmart. Is it 10 o'clock already? Start talking about Kmart bikes and department stores and it gets late fast. Bradley's nuts. I'm going to grab another beer. I'm not even going to go to a break. I'm just going to grab a beer and be right back. And just chat for like however long we go. Bradley's secret. So he kept saying in Albany, Albanese nuts. I don't know if I doubt Terry B's still here, but I also tried to convince everybody because of his Twitch streams when they were riding across the country that Schenectady is pronounced Schneckety. And when he was streaming today, it actually went to that clip, and I was so happy to see it because I've been saying Schneckety for a week. Anyways, let me grab a beer. Bradley's is where you get all your male lingerie, large. Oh, got a work text I have to answer. It's from a friend that I'm doing a gig for. Don't have random work contacts texting me at 10 o'clock. I just see Pudgy talking about that Renee Earth's carbon bike that we were showing earlier. And he said, Tim either has to admit he likes a carbon bike or admit he doesn't like something Jan Heine put his name on. Hey, man, I'm all about his tires and his magazine. Like, I thought, even though I think his steel bikes are cool that he raced on, I'm not spending $15,000 on well, I don't have $15,000, but Even if I did it, well, if I did, it would be on a JP Weigel probably. But yeah. Hey, Joseph, I'm still riding all the time. My back feels best when I'm riding. It doesn't feel great now. Now, sciatica is still pretty bad. Um, but feels a tiny bit better. But yeah, so I'm still riding. I just have been last couple of days I haven't because I've been busy. But we rode probably 300-400 miles on our trip. So cheesy, what's up? You said you bought a couple Giants and found out they were made in China. Bikes being made in the Far East doesn't mean they're bad bikes. I mean, most bikes, even good bikes, are made, in Taiwan. Crust bikes are, all cities, what I name every brand. Just where a bike's made doesn't determine how good it is anymore. That's for sure. It's just the level of bike. Like even Shimano. I mean, when it comes to components, Shimano makes nice stuff in Japan, and they also make really garbage stuff for the quote unquote Walmart bikes we're talking about. You know, that's trash. So it really depends. You can't, a brand name or where it's made doesn't mean anything really. Certain brands only make nice bikes, right? You're not going to buy a garbage, Calnago. They don't make anything that's not expensive. But even Calnago, it's been rumored, are making their monocoque frames in the Far East as well. So, and only their uh, carbon, more custom bikes are actually still made in Italy, from what I've read. So, you know, yeah, Marin's a Kali company. Does I think we looked it up, and Marin is still owned by Marin. Do they still make all their bikes in California? Like the Marin I have is a California-made Marin, which is crazy because I bought it from eBay from a guy in Hungary, and the matching fork I bought on eBay from a guy in Italy. But they're both American-made steel. So I haven't. Marin I know still makes nice stuff. I don't know if they still make it in the U.S. though. Um, you know, just because a company is, Trek's American and they only make a handful of their bikes in the U.S. Every Trek I have, oh, except one. I have three old Treks are American, but they're one's a 1982 and one's a 2001. So, Pudgy, buy a bike that fits you, not a giant one. Yeah, even all those new titanium companies that have come out and Thompson making a titanium bike and all that stuff, those are all still made in the. I think everyone's making them probably in the same exact factory in Taiwan. I guarantee you. Not everyone, but a lot of them. Like Cheesy Rider, yeah. I've I've never spent $15,000 on an automobile. I mean, I've never spent at one time over $1,000 on a bicycle. All my stuff is built up over time or bought used, and then, I mean, I don't know how much money I'd have in my Raleigh. It's definitely a couple $1,000s at this point, but not all at once. And I didn't buy the bike new. It's a 2014 that I bought 3 or 4 years ago, or traded for the frame. So even the gunner, like I'm gonna build that up, and it'll end up being probably a reasonably expensive build. But you know, yeah, I've never bought an expensive new bike. Nothing wrong with that. Again, I just personally never have. So that Renee Carbon bike would look sweet with varnished cloth tape on the handlebars. What does it have? Is there more pictures on the? Someone showed that link. Let's see. Oh yeah, there you go. It's a cool looking bike, and again, like I don't like even hate carbon. I just don't have a use for it. Like it's out of my price point. I don't care. I'm not a weight weenie. Um, like I have like when I rode Otis's Carbon War Road, I don't like the way carbon just it's just not my cup of tea. Like I get why other people like it, you know. You could build interesting compliance into carbon now with like technology, but Steel is real. That's just my, you know, I have a couple aluminum bikes too. I do have one carbon bike, but I don't ride it. But it's vintage carbon, and it's probably scary. So a '90s look. So I mean, this looks like a rad bike. I also don't need a race bike because my back doesn't. I can't be slammed. I just don't. I don't ride my vintage steel road bikes that much anymore because of my back. So Chapman cycles? I don't think so. I mean, we've looked up a million things on this stream before, but I don't think I remember that one. I have to take a look at it and see. Oh, hand built in Rhode Island. This website gonna go up? Oh no. I definitely think these are rad already, though. Modern frames for vintage souls. Oh, those are interesting. I love the matching stem. That looks pretty sweet. Sam asked if I'm putting SRAM on the gunner. I have some SRAM stuff that Aaron took off a bike, so there's a chance. Like I've always said, I wouldn't like avoid SRAM. If I'm buying stuff new or if I'm building stuff up for myself, I'm always going to choose Shimano, but the gunner might end up with SRAM on it. We'll see. Oh, Party Size said that Chapman had some nice bikes at the Philly Bike Expo. They're super cool. I kind of lean towards wanting disc on anything new. But you know, obviously, if you do cantilevers right, or they're going to be good. I just put vintage cantilevers on the one bike that I run cantilevers on, and they don't have a lot of stopping power. So Jay Dandy asking for maps. Do you need me to show you where Rhode Island is, James Dandy? Jay Dandy. Oh, you know what's funny, Pudgy, about that plastic Florida bike? Totally aluminum. It wasn't plastic at all. Hey, what's up, Austin? You said, do I find that modern steel bikes tend to be much stiffer? I, I think that's too broad a question to ask because they're super noodly modern steel bikes. You know, uh, our buddy Aaron, who was out in Nutmeg too, from here in Akron. I'm actually wearing his company shirt, Whiskerton, but is building up one of those crust romancers, and that tubing is super thin and is from what Yonda the mechanic told me is really flexy. So I think that's just too broad of a question. Uh, so I would say no. I'm sure in some cases, but in general, they're just still all over the place. I mean, there's so many different steel bikes and steel builds. My Raleigh, the Reynolds it's made out of, is not the lightest. It was made like the designer, what's his name, Guitar Ted. Then when he was working on Raleigh with that, they picked that because it was more flexible steel for riding gravel, so it would have more like suspension built into it. That's a 2014. So do you say modern for a bike that has mechanical disc brakes from 2014? Again, I don't wouldn't know how to answer really, to be honest. Austin, yeah, I think like maybe Austin, if you're looking at like Surly's, I mean when maybe someone else could answer this, but when like a midnight special be considered a stiffer steel bike and stuff like that? But let's see if they say what the tubing is on these Chapmans. So these are all full custom, huh? Yeah, these are all full custom bikes. Uh, they're not even taking new orders as of December 2021. Let's see. Oh, I don't have them up here. Sorry, guys. See if there's a spec. Uh, Beautiful bikes. It doesn't really say though. See if the about section has anything. I bet you could have them make it out of whatever you want. It was funny when we were at let's see, JP Weigel, the custom frame builder in, which I love his bikes too. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Um, he like this is a Reynolds 531 sticker, and he had it like painted to say like not Reynolds 531, or like almost like little jokes on everything. So I would said guaranteed not built with Reynolds 531. So even his, I don't know what his tubing is, but his bikes were beautiful. It was so cool to see his little workshop. One of the coolest parts of Nutmeg, actually, in my opinion. I thought it was super neat. I think his bikes are a lot like those bikes we were just looking at by Chapman. I would be surprised if those Chapman bikes are not inspired a little bit by Weigel. This is I think his personal bike actually, Peter Weigel. And he drilled out those cranks himself too. I was reading an article about this bike after we were there to give him that like drillium look. Hey, what's up, waffles and coffees? Waffles and coffee. Yeah, and he also had cider and donuts set out for us. And then at Nutmeg 2, um, you're able to leave right through his backyard out onto trails, which was pretty sweet. So, yeah, Austin, I would just say do some research because there's definitely flexible steel bikes that are still out there. But if it's a touring bike, it's like a lot of times it's supposed to be built to to be able to handle a load without getting messed up. But yeah, and like you were saying, like you have a Kona with 853. I would look for a bike that's built with 853. If it's got a big triangle and it's built out of that steel, it's going to be should have similar characteristics, right? I'm guessing Chapman just can't keep up on the orders. I mean, like I think Richard Sachs isn't he like hasn't he stopped taking orders like 10 years ago? Uh, it was cool. Also sitting in. So after we went here and finished the ride at Nutmeg, we ended up in sitting at a brewery in Chester, and I was talking to his YouTube and Instagram name is Helmet Kids, and he was pointing out like right across the street from the brewery is where Richard Sachs himself like had his workshop back in the day. So right there in their little downtown, tiny little downtown. But there was a frame at Philly Bike Expo with Drillium on the top tube. Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I just thought that was super cool. We got to go to Weigel's place. He was just hanging out, talking to everyone. I don't know if it's pronounced Weigel or Weigel, by the way. But oh, Cass said, "Oh yeah, for sure. Brian is in JP's lineage." Yeah. Oh, Dylan, you talked to a guy at Higher Ground that has a Chapman. Awesome. Hey, what's up, Brad? Miggy, yeah, I didn't know. I never knew Helmet's kid's name until we were sitting there talking to Alex. and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got to go. Miggy's my ride. I got to go find him." And I was like, "Oh, Helmet Kids, that's his name." I never had, yeah, Drillium tires, Sam. Wasn't that like those? What are those like? It's another cheap thing I saw Francis Cade mess with, those tires that don't take air but are have like holes all around them, like absolute trash project. Renee Ayer's extra light casing is Drillium tires. Yeah, you can watch the sealant come right out the sides for sure. I still think it's funny that everyone like complained about those tires at like something like Nutmeg. It's like, yeah, that's not what they're made for. You don't take extra light sidewalls to riding gnarly like New England rocky, off-road stuff, or like people who did the 100 last year was like dried up riverbeds and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, my tires are getting sliced up." It's like, huh, it's not really too surprising, but or like the Flint Hills when people go race out there, it's like not what those tires are for. You don't ride them on sharp stuff, but I always buy the regular casing, and I've never had a problem. Um, I have I have flatted on one, uh, but it's because I wore the tread all the way down. There was barely any tread left. Actually, after this trip, I was just looking at my Renaers. That's the big, any supple tire, reasonably supple tire, they just wear out so fast, especially if you do a lot of road miles. Um, that's kind of a price I'm willing to pay at this point for how much I ride and how much I like the tires, though. So that's just up to, everyone like recommends when I talk about bike touring and make a video about touring or backpacking, like, and traveling through has proved it, like those Schwabe marathons. It's like, yeah, they're bulletproof. And if you're going on a tour and you don't want problems with your tires like that make sense. Yeah, everyone's got to decide where they want that line to be between durability and ride feel, right? But you have to give up something, and that's, you're not going to get both, you know. Jan Hein, when he raced the Unbound XL, rode on the tough casings or whatever Renee Hertz's term is. Renee Hertz's term is for the thicker casing. I don't endurance. I think they use the term endurance, right? So the owner of the company rode on the endurance casings when he raced them. So I think that says what you should do, and gives you an idea of where you should be on that spectrum, depending on what you want to do. So yeah, gator skins. Don't people who ride fixed gear bikes like gator skins because you could like since you're always ending up skidding and stuff like that. So yeah, it's interesting on this Chapman site. Like some of these bikes that they show pictures of are. Oh, here we go. So this is a Raleigh International 650B conversion, but in his description right there, he says my contribution for the Peter Weigel French Fender virtual French Fender Day. So yeah, he even references Weigel. So ooh, look at these polished Mayfac racer brakes. What's stud season, Pudgy? Yeah, all that stuff's polished. Look at that campy headset. Oh, studded tires. Huh. Hopefully that holds off as long as possible. So we've been lucky so far. Actually, I can't remember a Halloween that was as nice as yesterday was. Went trick or treating with my nephews and my over at my sister's house, and the whole family came over and had dinner and all that. But I can't remember a Halloween, God, in at least the last 10 years where it was that warm. Oh, Chapman's Breaks. Yeah, I actually found them on the website. See what's. They have a pretty good gallery of everything here, so. Can't tell what breaks those ones are. Oh, there we go. Ah, Dear Cop. He's got an offset Canty style mechanism. Let's see. Oh, this thing? Yeah, this must be what you're talking about here. Well, that's just. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Let's see if there's a front view of these things. How to get out of here? Oh, well, there's a closer view. Not these? What are these then? These are something unique too. I still want to see these from the front. Oh, here's a side view. That might be interesting. What are these? Just who made these? Are these just machined by? I will. I'm still. These are interesting. I'll go to his Instagram. I'm still checking these out. Oh, this thing? Did I somehow click on his flicker? Oh, nice. Even better. He's got a flicker. Follow. This has got to be what you're talking about, though, right? Wago uses Instagram too, for the record. I'm just saying, it's coming back. It's the website for real photography and bike enthusiasts. He's definitely on the Wago campy thing too, just like Ron. Everybody in their campy stuff. Let's see if he has even any videos on here, because had some strong light cranks on this one. Huh. Oh, he's got one with disc brakes here. That's pretty sweet. No solder instead of cable crimps. Come on. Blue lug flicker pops off. Yeah, see? Telling you. This would be cool if he was able to have. I was running all Tegra on this. This would be cool with. Well, I guess he went all black. I guess it's a look. He's got a look going with the black stuff on there. But look at that. That's some nice looking stuff there. Let's see what else we got. I was running a Bello Orange crank set, huh? And some campy record. This is a paint job that I think is pretty badass. Oh, look at that too, where he's mounted the pump on the seat tubes, the matching pump. I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, I love this dark blue. Let's see a detail shot, like because he's got these awesome lines in here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, look at these like great like blue and red painted lines, even matching on the fenders. See it close. Oh yeah, there we go. Oops, sorry. I usually like lugged for vintage frames, but the look of his super clean uh, must be sanding the welds, right? Just looks pretty sweet. Yeah, look how smooth that is. Then the yeah, the Romancer by Crust has pump pegs, but in the normal spot, not there. Do they fashion mountain bikes? They should. Yeah, I would doubt it. He said on the website, you know, the Rodneering, uh, touring gravel thing was more of his. Ooh, I love that Aerodura race. I have one of those. I keep thinking of stealing that off my slammed vintage road bike that I never ride anymore. That Durace group set. Putting it on something that I actually ride all the time. That trailer is wild. Did you guys see that? I skipped through it really quick. Go back to the. Yeah. That's some wild shit. Yeah. Did I read that comment on that? Did cable routing through the seat stays? I think this blue is always one of my favorite. I like it with the white on the on the head tube as well. That's super sharp. What is that crank set? Is that crank set that I think that's the Rene Ayers crank set he's got on this one. Yeah, I love that with all the chromed out bits, all Tegra levers and shifters. Oh, Renee's uh, brakes as well. Oh yeah, that's what those are. Yeah, Weigel had one of those on one of those bikes at the shop. Do you want me to let me? I'll drop the link here for you guys in case anyone wants to look at this on there. Save it. Pretty cool stuff to look through. He did have an about like pricing section on his website, but like you said, he hasn't even taken a new order in 2 years, so or over a year. It's not even worth worrying about. Yeah, I definitely enjoy when the Philly Bike Expo is going on, like browsing Instagram and seeing all the cool stuff out there, like stuff I'll never be able to afford, but would be fun to look at, like this, you know. What was there was one other thing I wanted to pull up here that we were talking about. Oh, I wanted to see what this if they had a price on the Rene Air carbon bike. Open Rene Air's upper frame set limited edition, $4,500. Oh, is that just the frame? It's not even a full. Yep, frame set is 4,500 bucks. 4,500 bucks. So what's up, Bicycle Dad? Yeah, third the price of the steel one. I think the steel ones were complete builds though. Not that that would even out. But also hand built bikes. So see if I could find what you tagged me in, Pudgy. I can't pull them up on the website, Pudgy. It will only let me pull up reels on the app, so I can't show it here. Muskrat, Muskrat, you said, have that frame builder from Peru fashion me a Rene carbon bike with 853 steel tubing. Well, one of the things I was saying to Otis at the bike shop, I was like, do you know what the geometry of those steel Rene Air bikes are? And he said, no, he doesn't publish it. He's like, but I think I'm close to understanding what it is. Because that's what I was saying. If we had the Argentinian or Peruvian frame builder, which was it? Wasn't it Argent? I can't remember now. But either way, we're like, have a mirror that, geometry, but that'd be the way to go. So $4,500. Do you think is cheap for? If you're gonna buy a $4,500 bike like that, right? You're gonna put a couple $1,000s worth of wheels on it, few $1,000 group set on it, right? So you'd get to 10,000 real quick. Oh, is that not that crazy off their what their regular MSRP would be? Let's see what a open would cost. Oh, well, wait, is this the full build? If this is a full build, I would say it is pretty far off because they're showing this. This is showing. Oh wait, that's the Echo. Yeah, they're showing this with the Campy gravel group set for $6,000 as a complete. So where's the? Why? I don't know why it didn't take me just to the upper. There we go. Frame set 4,500. Okay, so yeah, that none of this makes any sense to me. What they have going on here, but yeah, so they're saying it's $4,500. So yeah, really the same. Do they show a complete? No. This website makes my mind hurt. Anyways. Yeah, the UP is over $1,000 cheaper. So how much for the downer? The price is the downer. The upper is looking at the picture. All right, what is it? 1042. I'm gonna get out of here. Oh, I do have one thing. I have no autofocus, so I can't show these up close. But I'm gonna. Maybe I'll wait till they come in the mail. But yeah, I'll wait. I've got something to give away to channel members, and I think we'll do like on one of the live stream. Anyone who's here, like a spin the wheel thing, but they're sending them to me. But a product that I've been using that I got for free that I'm loving, and they said they'd send me 10 more. So, anyways, that'll be maybe on Thursday. So, bike picks, we looked at a million bike picks because you guys get me off topic so fast. We'll look at our bike picks on Thursday. So, Thursday, I do have a photo gig, but I believe it was going to be over in time that it wouldn't conflict with like getting on the live stream. So, let me look real quick. Oh yeah, I'm shooting a bunch of Whiskertons lights on Thursday, but we're starting at 5, so that's we usually get done in a couple hours. So yeah, streaming on Thursday shouldn't be a problem. We'll get into bike picks then. Also, yeah, Nutmeg video. I'm hoping for Thursday morning. Like I said, I've started to put it together. Just got to decide the route I want to go. Plus, I've realized using the GoPro at full resolution is saving in a codec that Premiere Pro and my computer absolutely hates. So my editing process is way slowed down. So I'm not going to be doing that going forward unless I could find a way to change the codec. It's that HVC, HVAC, whatever. It's just I can't even use like the graphics card when I it's a pain in the ass. Whole long boring thing. But anyways, Whiskerton. Whiskerton, yeah. All right, guys. Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. I'm glad. Cool. We had a good crowd tonight. Fun chat. And yeah, video Thursday morning, hopefully. Live stream Thursday evening. And hopefully going forward, more and more stuff, more and more of the consistency with the live streams, with the time change and the season change and all that. But all right.
See myself on your YouTube.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Cause
Yeah.
this is our
Fitzwater photo.
You